Broadcasting from the Elliott studio, it's the longest running poker podcast for the everyday poker player with your host, Joe Scales.
Hello, A-Team, and welcome back to another episode of the Elliott Poker Podcast, where every hand is an opportunity, every player is a friend, and every episode is a winning experience. I'm your host, Joe Scales, and let me tell you, talk about getting back and hitting the ground running. The trip to Vegas has me invigorated about what's to come in 2026, and honestly, even rolling right into 2027. The energy out there was contagious, and it's carried straight back into the show. I've been really happy with the podcast numbers on YouTube, too, even though last episode decided to take a brief vacation after YouTube pulled it for a bit. Thankfully, the appeal went through and boom, right back up where it belongs. And, of course, because nothing can ever be simple, I also managed to upload the wrong audio file type, so Spotify dragged its feet getting that episode out. I actually fixed it late last night during the Patreon game. A little frustrating since the new one is out today, but hey, it's up and running now. Speaking of the Patreon game, though, Pasta had mentioned that he wanted to spend his winnings from last month in the Ante merch shop. I think I finally worked out how to handle that. I should know Monday for sure. It's another one of those things that has taken me probably way more time than it should, but now that Pasta's been the guinea pig, this is going to be a thing. Winners of the Patreon game will have the option to take a gift card or store credit to the Ante merch shop. And if you're looking to grab some of that merch outside of the game, just head over to anteupmagazine.com, click shop at the top, and there you go. We've got a great show for you again this week, and these shows tend to go a little long, so that's all I've got for now. Let's get on with the show.
Find out what conversations are happening around the poker table with Table Talk.
Elle and I are back around the poker table.
And I'm cold. That Vegas weather spoiled me rotten. I mean, it was cold on the rainy days, which we had never experienced rain in Vegas. Having lived in Dubai, I could sympathize with the locals. They were all out dancing in it, talking about how they took their kids out in the rain the night that it had rained. But yeah, no, it was as soon as we got on the jet bridge, which jet bridge, that's the word. When we hit DC,
I went. It 2 weeks to remember it, but
yeah, it did. But as soon as we got on the jet bridge in DC, I was like, oh, I texted my mom so fast. Said, can you please bring me a jacket? Like I was in school
We're back
again.
On the East Coast.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold.
Yeah, and we got to watch that rain kind of off toward the mountains, just creeping in. It didn't, well, not creep in. It came in quick.
Came in quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you can't see the mountains from the strip, it's a little scary.
It did that. It did slow the traffic down a bit, though.
Yeah, even into the poker room.
Yeah. Between that and the F1, then it was cool to see all the stuff up for the F1, though. I enjoyed seeing, all of the lights and the grandstands and all of that. But
yeah, it's definitely a disruption. I'm sure people have heard that enough, but it is a disruption from the standpoint of like, you can't cross where you're used to crossing.
Yeah.
You've got to go through tunnels instead of open air bridges. You've got tunnels, meaning they've closed over the bridges, which is good because they're trying to keep the drivers safe. They don't want anything to be.
Yeah, and the locals were more unhappy about the parking and being able to get into the different areas the same way they normally do.
It sounds just like the college town nearby. When the students come back, everybody complains too. I mean, it's for short, limited.
I didn't like that either.
I know. So it's similar. We wish them the best. in their race tomorrow, I believe, is the big one. I think they had qualifiers and some events leading up to the big one tomorrow. So I hope it's dried up. And
I was going to say, hopefully the rain stayed away long enough for them to be able to get that in. I haven't looked.
Yeah, I haven't either. But it is great to be back home. After a successful week in Vegas for the Ante Up Poker Championship at the Venetian Poker Room.
It was so fun and just different, right?
Yeah.
We've had all of these tour stops along the way, enjoyed all of those. Each one has its own personality to it.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. And the Venetian was absolutely fantastic. I know you guys saw us last week coming live from their Poker Live studio.
Yeah,
which was really fun.
That was fun.
It was really
It gave us
fun.
some ideas for in here too.
It did.
So we'll see how that pans out. But what people didn't see was the behind the scenes stuff, right?
Right.
The floor, they were constantly keeping the room kind of at ease.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it.
And all of the dealers would come over, say hi, of course, grab some
mints.
Some mints. Yeah.
We traded some too. I got some dark chocolate out of that deal.
What?
Didn't share. Yeah, one of the dealers actually, she was like, "You've been giving me mints all week, so I brought you dark chocolate."
See how this goes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, everybody was professional from the top to the bottom, and
cocktail waitresses were on point. I mean, they were making sure everybody's hydrated. Servers made sure everybody was eating. That food is delicious.
That's it. That's a switch. So I think that we should definitely point that out. Like when we were there in July for the WSOP, one of the things that people were complaining about was the wait staff wasn't coming around very often.
Oh.
And that was definitely not the case for us on this trip.
Yeah, that's not what we experienced. And I know our friends and family were happy too that we're in there playing cash and maybe some other tournaments as well. I think that's another thing I wanted to mention is we had one event this week, which is unlike any other stop. Usually we have many events running anywhere from 7 to 10 to 14, 15 days, that kind of thing. This was highly focused on one event with some satellites, but there was also some really good other deep stack opportunities. I mean, they had that $300 deep stack tournament going on every night, I think around 5:00. The cash games were excellent in any range you want to play. You want to play 1-3, fine. You want to play 2-3.
And then they had a 2-5.
2-5. And I think there was a 10-20 game. Or there's some private games. This was another really cool thing I saw. I saw groups of people that came in and sat down and played. And it was like a home game, but in the Venetian. And I thought that was a really cool opportunity. So if that's something you wanted to do while you're in Vegas, I would definitely check that out. But I mean, top notch. I played. My money is still there. It did not come home or multiply like I had hoped, but I learned a lot. And I think this is one thing I wanted to mention. I've played twice this week, once online, once in person. And it's interesting. I'm noticing a new pattern.
Okay, what's the new pattern?
Is that I will play like the last place I've played.
Okay.
So when I played cash, it took me about 24, 48 hours. I realized I'm still playing World Tavern Poker. I was not playing live cash game poker. I was like in my usual, Tuesday night feel of tournament. The blinds are going to go up. People are going to play crazy and then they're going to calm down a little bit. And then there's going to be stiff competition at the final table. No, that was not where I was. And then last night, well, we'll get to that because I think we'll talk about the Patreon later. But I learned. It's like you've got to mentally prep yourself for where you are. And I'd never thought about that.
Yeah,
I know my game,
makes sense.
But your game has to fluctuate a little bit with who you're playing with. I will say this, though. I did really enjoy the conversation with the guy from Illinois. He learned at Rockford Charitable Games.
Oh, yeah.
And is now, at the Venetian playing a couple times a week. It sounds like he took some time off and now he's back. And then the gentleman to my left, first time ever.
It was his first time playing?
Nope. First time ever that I saw somebody report a card that might be marked.
Oh.
So this was something that I think the shuffler was going on with the shuffler. And that's not a negative on the Venetian at all. It's that happens. It can happen.
Yeah.
Shuffler is a machine. it can damage the cards in a particular manner or whatever, but I'd never seen that reported. Heard people talk about it, and he apologized to everybody at the table, and I said, no. We have a podcast, and what do we say? See something, say something. You did the right thing. For all of us at the table. If you know this card is marked and you didn't say something, then you're cheating all of us.
Yeah.
So I really had a not great bankroll moment, but enjoyed the play.
Yeah. You never know who's going to be sitting down next to you in a poker room in Vegas either.
No, and there were some star-studded appearances. That was also very cool. Yeah,
some of them were playing other tournaments. Some of them were playing cash. Some of them were playing our tournament. And JJ Liu.
Yep.
Jessica Vierling, Chris Moorman.
Yes.
And Catherine Lindsay.
They all played in the championship.
Those two are some ACR pros, and
Jessica Vierling is a pro as well. She's out there grinding, and JJ Liu's been playing forever.
Yeah.
Really loved watching her hats come in. She had a different hat every day, still does it. Really, really enjoyed watching her play. Nika Futterman.
Okay.
Most folks are not going to know this name.
But you know the person.
If you are in an age bracket
age group,
from, I would say, 35 to 55.
Yeah.
You're going to know. Her voice. She is the voice from Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
She's Olga, the blonde girl's older sister.
Yeah. Not the one that said, "Hey, football head."
Yeah.
But
her older sister. Well, and of course she captivated me by her outfit. Her outfit was very artsy. I loved her hat. She had orange round glasses on. And I just thought, I actually saw her in the shops, the canal shops.
Oh,
before
did you really?
She even got to the poker room when I was out having a conversation on the phone. And I thought, oh, she's interesting. And then she was at our table and I thought, okay, I gotta know a little bit more about her. But went from, physical acting to voiceover, and she's been in a lot of characters. So that was a really neat person to meet and learn how her poker story kind of began, which was on a trip, and the vacation kind of was dampered by a lot of rain.
Oh.
So they ended up having to stay in rather than go out, and she learned how to play poker that weekend, and the rest is kind of history.
Fell in love with it on the spot.
Yeah, and now she lives both in LA and Vegas.
And
she goes back and forth with her children.
Yeah, and she's had some good scores too. And then
Carrie Jane Craigie.
There you go.
Yeah. I had a little fangirl moment. She was playing in that $300 tournament, and at the evening tournament, and I was like, Joe, I think Carrie Jane is here. And he was like, really? And I was like, yes. And so I waited till break and went over and said hello. And of course, probably very nervously introduced myself, but I can't not nerd out. She is the only female poker room director in the UK. Out of London, she runs the biggest card room in the Hippodrome Casino.
I didn't realize she was the only one.
She is the only female card room director.
Okay.
Yes, they have female floors, female dealers, all sorts of different staff that make the poker room world go round. But her room is the biggest one in the UK. It's the entire third floor of the Hippodrome. They host things like the UK and Ireland Poker Tour.
Oh.
And I just, again, learned a little bit more about her story. If you don't know about Carrie Jane, she actually lived here in the US with her partner at the time and could not work. So she was doing a lot of playing tennis, a lot of lunches, a lot of things that were very boring for what she calls her active brain. And she found PokerStars and started playing online. And then, eventually kind of started doing the 1 cent, 2 cent, moved back to the UK and continued to play. And at that time, the little chat box would show where you are, or you were able to say where you were playing from. And so she mentioned where she was playing from, and other people in her game were local.
Oh,
near her.
Yeah. So they invited her to go play with them?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. At a pub game. So she started playing pub games, and then the rest is history. I mean, there's a lot in between. But again, fangirl, just super excited because I feel like I can relate.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of just learning slowly and building up my expertise. And I'm still in the very beginning of my poker story or venture tour, if you want to say. But that was really cool to experience. Just, you really don't know who you're going to see.
Right.
Anywhere you go. I mean, anywhere you go in Vegas, but in the poker room especially.
Right. And I kind of had a similar fanboy experience or whatever, because, I maybe not quite to the extreme, but I listened to Remco and Donnie Peters.
Oh, yeah.
I listened to them on podcasts and everything for such a long time. And so to be able to be in the studio with them as we did the live stream,
which we didn't know.
So cool.
We didn't know that's who it was going to be until, Matt, massive shout out to Matt at the Venetian Poker Room. His leadership throughout the whole live stream experience was fantastic. And he mentions, it might be Remco, it might be Kristen, I'm not sure. And Joe's like, are you serious? And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. So they put you in the booth first.
They did.
And then I think it was Tommy. And then after Tommy, I jumped in for a little bit. I was a nervous wreck. And they made it so easy. I mean, you've got 4 people running the cameras, running the lights. You've got one guy out putting headsets and running the wires down people and letting people know. If you've ever done anything backstage production at all, they're all talking to each other through these headsets of like, hey, so-and-so's getting up and go to the restroom and so-and-so's coming back in and da-da-da. So they communicate really well. Everybody's super calm.
Yeah.
And
that was the thing that got me. All the staff was calm, which then in turn translated to the players.
100%.
All of the players were super relaxed. There were a couple, what we mentioned it on the live stream, but one of the guys hadn't played poker for like 7 years.
Yeah.
And, he was just relaxed.
Having a good time, laughing, enjoying the game.
Yeah.
They make it so easy. They just make it easy.
Yeah.
So
well done there. And then after the tournament, we got to go over and say hello to Robbie Straczynski.
Oh, yes. So enjoyed getting to meet him in person.
Yeah, he was doing his mixed game festival over at Resorts World. Just as gracious in person as he was when we spoke for the magazine, and just really enjoy meeting great people in this game.
Yeah.
And I know when I was seeing some of the things he posted, they had multiple tables running over there with mixed games, which is huge because mixed games, I mean, not everybody wants to play deuce to 7 triple draw or draw maha.
Yeah. Or Badesi or Badusi or whatever, pineapple crazy or not kind of thing.
Exactly.
I noticed funny things when I'm in certain places, and I noticed the number of plates that they had out because they have to put the name of what game you're playing. They had boxes of them, and I was like, "Oh, I want to come back and know what all of those are." We didn't end up having a chance to go back and play or visit. Our last day kind of just took over. It's one of those days of.
They had one plate that they had to put a sticky note on because they just created another one there. I mean, it was already a game, but they were like, we don't have a thing for it. So they played Raz, but they played Raz 49.
What's that?
And it's a split pot game, and I thought my head was going to explode. We talked about it on Patreon last night. And literally, one half of the pot goes to the best Raz hand.
Okay.
And the other half, you count your pips on the card. So a 7 has 7 pips.
Right.
A 10 has 10 pips. And whoever has or closest to 49 gets the other half of the pot.
Okay. Yeah. See, the long pause mental workout. That I would have to play many times before I even sat down at a table to play that. So maybe that'll be, if we can do that as a mixed game, that would be fun to play.
Yeah. I was literally on a piece of paper going, how can I make the best?
Yeah, you have to do some mental workout.
Then still have 49 pips because you want the lowest and you want high pips.
It's choose one. Just choose one. I don't think you try to do both.
Well, part of the fun of mixed pot mixed games or split pot games
Right.
is being able to scoop the whole thing, trying to figure out how to get all
I
of
give
the
you
chips.
1 week to figure that out because I guarantee you're still going to be thinking about it. It's like no one ever knew that I played this. I'm a very visual person. And so Joe and I could not play Uno together.
She put them in the colors
I have
of the
my
color
routine.
wheel.
I have my routine that I do, and he knows where all my colors were. So then I'm like, okay, we got to play out some other games. You're like practicing them on your lunch break to be able to beat me because you couldn't handle that.
That was a
beating
different
you.
game.
Yes, I know.
That was,
I know, but I'm saying I give you 1 week to get that number figured out or less, because if you're still thinking about it, that means you're going to tackle it. So report back next week for Raz 49.
Raz 49.
Anyhow, the travel back home was also easy breezy. Shout out United. Hello.
Yeah, it was easy.
We didn't run into any of those delays. We were very fortunate that so many other people had run into in the last week and a half. I think things are back on track. Still a bit of a whirlwind coming back. It feels much longer because you're losing time.
And it was late. You know, we didn't get home until
1 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we decided to schedule the Patreon game for
the day we got home.
Yeah, but
right. So what do poker players do when they leave a tournament? They also then play online. It's the day they get home. That's what
so all of the advice that I have ever given to people about playing poker, I scrapped all of them
out the window.
I was playing poker tired. I always tell people not to do that. I was playing poker distracted because the Bills game was on, which we won't talk about. But the Bills have a lot of work to do before postseason starts because it was not a pretty game last night. But anyway, all of those things that I say not to do, I did last night, and
we both did.
It showed.
Yeah. Well, and then I was playing back at the cash table.
Yeah.
In my brain, I'm like back and people are like, you're not making sense.
Yeah.
And I realized what I was doing is counteracting what happened to me when I was losing pots in Vegas. I was like, oh, if I had done this, then I would have gained. So I did all right until I'd shoved all in and got sassy with an ace, and that doesn't happen. That doesn't go well.
You kept them on their toes though.
I did. And Just Cards, if you're listening, I know you went to drown your sorrows because I ended up knocking you out last night, but I had to drown mine after I got knocked out too. So, I mean,
he was probably chipped off.
Yeah, well, so was I. And then I kept watching and learned that if you are on Poker Stars without being active for 30 minutes, because I liked watching. I was still watching the game. My mom was here, so we were chatting, having some wine and relaxing, watching the game. And then I didn't even get to see I didn't get to see the heads up battle. I had to keep coming down and checking on your screen because I got knocked out and I couldn't get back in. But I mean, hello, Pasta, you're always competitive till the end.
Yeah.
I mean,
look, he was down to Crohn's.
Yeah.
And managed to come back. Yankees fan, it's your fault.
That was not nice.
Well, I told him during the game that I was going to, because they got it all in, and Yankees fan was way far behind, but
he's trying to make up for it.
And then so Pasta doubled up and then continued to double up and double up and double up. And
yeah, he was
had
down
a massive chip lead at one point.
Yeah, he was like down to 800 chips at one point.
And then
the next time, well, I shouldn't say the next time I look, but then I look and it's like 36,000, and I was like, oh, wow, battle against Goddard, and Goddard got him in the end.
He did hard fight. They were the heads up battle last Hold'em game, and they continued that battle this time. They both have one now. So
yeah, and I will say that the reason I was most impressed with Pasta is because it's hard when you're the bounty.
It is.
You have a target on your back the whole time, and he didn't let it worry him. He just kept playing his game. You could see him on screen just staying steady, and that's what I really, really, really respect about his game. I like to watch and learn from him.
And I will say also, we had a great group of people that stayed till the end in the chat, in the video We
Feels like
all
a home
sat in
game.
there. We all sat in there and talked and hung out, and it was really nice. I loved it.
Yeah, we always look forward to those.
But there's some online trouble going on right now.
Once
It
again.
happened while we were in Vegas, but
Right.
we'll report on it now. GG Poker banned another player, this one with the screen name Hinaru, and the account was, I guess, he was banned for ghosting, which means basically he created it or somebody created the account and then somebody else is playing it or multiple people are playing on there.
Just very confusing to me. Typically in the slang word arena, being ghosted is just no one ever replying to you. So
this
if
is
you're
kind of the
dating, if
opposite.
you're doing online dating or you're dating in general in real life and then somebody ghosts you, it's like they disappear and they've never existed.
Right.
So when you said it was a ghosting case, I was like, they just didn't show up for the tournament. Like, what happened? And he's like, no, the person who signed up, it was a different person playing. And so what a mess.
Yeah. And it was during the GG Millions online tournament, which, I mean, they had 160 entries and
which is 1.6 million.
Yeah.
Pot. I mean,
so it was a big prize pool.
Yeah.
And Hinaru was the chip leader at the table. I don't know how they found out the account was being used by someone else, but they basically they wouldn't let him come back to the table, so he was sitting out, as it says, and then he just continued to blind him off. He ended up in 5th place, which worked out to be 115,752, which they will then take that money and redistribute it to the affected players.
Yeah, and I know that we talked about the same situation a couple of weeks ago, and that was also, a GG ambassador, Renlin.
Yeah.
And I was hesitant to even talk about this today because it leads to this just distrust and weariness to play online. I think the good news is that organizations are getting savvy as people are trying to manipulate the system. And I know that it's not helping the image of poker at all.
Right.
But you've actually been talking to Hatter recently about this, and we talk about it with our friends as well.
Yeah, and Hatter and I were talking about it before this even happened, and he brought up a quote from the movie American Sniper. It's at the beginning. And
I haven't seen that.
Basically, the quote is that there are 3 types of people, right? There's those that don't believe that bad exists.
Oh, wow.
And then there's the people that prey on those people.
Yeah.
And then there's the people that feel like they need to protect everyone. And he was saying, Hatter was saying, that kind of feels like where poker is too.
That makes a lot of sense.
There's people that don't even think about the bad that is out there in poker, and
they're just enjoying the game.
Yeah. And rightfully so. Like, that's what it's there for. But then there's those people that prey on.
That realize that.
Yeah. And then there's the people
that see both.
Yeah. And then feel like it's their responsibility, which is why it's so important for these topics to come up on the show. Because I think it's important for people to realize what is out there. I would love to only promote the positive things in poker, but then we're ignoring things
that people just need to be aware of. I think the only reason we wanted to discuss that today was that it's just to bring more awareness that it's out there, and choose your games wisely.
Yeah.
And then also hope and respect the process, because I do feel like organizations are doing a better job at investigating and finding what's happening and who's truly playing, and if they're using, help along the way, or, consulting someone else, or you never know.
Right.
Solvers, and the whole 9.
It's so important, and it always has been, but I feel like even more so today, it's so important to make sure that you have the right people that are representing your brand, right?
Yeah.
And that they're going to be doing it with integrity, especially in a industry like poker,
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you have people that have integrity and are going to represent you that way.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we realized this week as well in Vegas is that we've got a lot of really great ambassadors
Right.
within Ante Up, and we were able to be with some of them in person last week, which is nice.
I mean, we got Bob Popper, we got Jason Harold, Vinny, Todd Lemansky, we've got Rob Fulfer. We even got to meet a new writer while we were in Vegas, Jasmine. Yeah, and of course Dustin was out there with us as well. Got to talk with Dustin Scarra while in Vegas. Dustin is our Arizona ambassador, where the fall poker series is still going on.
Yeah, at Talking Stick. And before we kind of get to how they're wrapping up that series, because it wraps up this weekend, a little into next week, I think what we really want to say is, even in the midst of hearing yet another online scandal, there's still some awesome stuff happening in the poker world. And so I think that quote that Hatter mentioned, which are you going to choose to be? And that's what we all have an opportunity to do, is who are you choosing to be in the game? Are you trying to grow the game? Are you trying to make people aware? Are you trying to be there to support people? Are you teaching classes? Are you inviting people to come with you to a tournament, go to the casino, or those kind of things? And I think what ultimately, when we keep hearing these things, we want to mention it, but we also, more importantly, want to highlight the people that are out there improving the game and increasing the likelihood that more people will play. So we're definitely want to give a shout out to our ambassadors this week.
Yeah.
That you guys are representing the game well, and we're proud that you're a part of our team, for sure.
Absolutely. We haven't been able to meet every single one of them in person.
Yeah.
But
we know your contributions.
But we know everything the hard work that you guys put in, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%. We'd be remiss to not mention the fall poker series at Talking Stick still going on. We're getting reports in about what's happening this weekend. The Senior Poker Open 7 is the last event. If you don't qualify for that, you still have some great options like the 300 No Limit Hold'em bounty tournaments. They've got another $300 price point. It's a Saturday night super stack. And I'm super looking forward to seeing Derek Stroop this weekend.
Oh, yeah. If you guys have not checked out Derek Stroop, I would recommend his comedy. We are going to see him this weekend
at the Funny Bone in Richmond, Virginia. There's a comedy club. We scored some last minute tickets, so I'm going to squeeze in. We just got back and we're leaving again, but we're going to squeeze in some fun, some laughter, pushing us into the Thanksgiving week. We hope that all of you enjoy a week full of family or friends, or maybe just some quiet time if you need that. But we're certainly thankful for you all. And Joe, as always, it's a pleasure being around this table with you.
Likewise.
Now it's time for Call the Floor with Elliott Schechter.
Elliott Schechter joins us each week to say how he would rule in situations that come up in your games. And he's with us again this week. Elliott, how's it going?
Things are going pretty well, Joe. Nice and warm out here in sunny California. How you doing?
It's not too bad here. It's not Vegas, but it's not too bad weather-wise here. I'm trying to get my life back in order this week. We got home and jumped in, and so my office / studio there's just stuff that just flew out of the bag so that I could get started. So this weekend I got to get things back in order.
Well, at least the set is not cluttered.
That's true. But I'm glad you joined us here for another Call the Floor. This one is sent in by Randy Williams, and he says, I wanted to share a situation that happened at my casino game and see what Elliott would do. He says, I'm in a hand, and there's an older gentleman at the table who keeps holding his cards up too high, I guess like this maybe, a little too high. Another player has repeatedly asked him not to because he can see the cards. which is totally fair. But at some point, you can't just keep asking. And now the players sitting next to him are getting more information than the rest of the table. And Randy says, I didn't want to call the floor on him. He's just an old man trying to see his cards. But what else could I do? From my perspective, if the neighbors see that he has the ace of hearts while I'm trying to represent the nut flush, I'm at a disadvantage. So he says, do you have to just start calling out cards you see out loud? And does that cause a different problem? Because what if they're lying about what they're seeing? And so he says, this is one of those situations where I felt stuck between etiquette and fairness. And he was curious how you would handle it, Elliott.
Well, this is something which I've had to deal firsthand. In my dealing days, I dealt in South Florida with a very, very large share of retirees and seasoned, mature players.
Very nice way of putting it. Yeah.
Thank you. So yes, I've seen this quite a bit. And while any group of people, game, organization, casino operator wants to accommodate as many people as possible, at some point the game must be played the way it was intended, which means nobody has anybody else's information until the showdown. Otherwise, the advantage is too large. There's supposed to be unknown cards in the deck, and when some people know them and other people don't, especially when the people who know them aren't supposed to know them, the game becomes amazingly unfair and tilted. The people without the information are tremendously disadvantaged. This is a time to call the floor, and the floor needs to handle this, obviously, diplomatically, discreetly, gingerly, and respectfully. You want everybody to maintain their dignity. This can't continue. I appreciate the fact they need to see their cards, but they have to be able to do it in a way that nobody else can see them. And if that can't be accomplished, then other assistance needs to be arranged, whether they have to have a reader or they're just going to have to be given other options in the casino, meaning they can't play the game. Just because somebody wants to play doesn't mean they should be allowed to play under every single circumstance, regardless of the consequence or outcome. It's just not fair to the people in the game who are just trying to play the game for recreation or to have fun or to play it fairly and under the same circumstances as anybody else. I've had to have this conversation, and it's not easy. But we don't all get the things we want all the time. And if somebody is constantly giving away information, it's not fair to them if we have to announce their cards at the table every time, because now they're playing at a disadvantage. Everybody knows what they have every time they're in a hand. And if we continue to allow them to just look at their cards in a way that their neighbors see their hand, then their neighbors are playing at an advantage the whole time over the players that can't see it. Either way, it's completely unfair. And at some point, you have to choose whether you're going to protect the large group of players or the one player only. And by protecting the one player in this case, you're basically telling the players not sitting next to him that they're worth less than anybody else. So you can't do that. It's just not fair.
When you say have a reader, you mean somebody that sits there and physically looks at the cards and tells them what they are?
Yes.
I think I've seen something similar to that where somebody, was in a wheelchair, I don't know, paraplegic, wasn't able to use their hands or whatever, and somebody would look at the cards for them. I've never seen it in the case of not being able to see them in any other situation, but it makes sense. And I guess you would have to bring that person with you, right? The casino's not going to give you one of their staff.
The operator is not providing a team member to read the cards for them.
Right.
And at this point, one would assume that the Google glasses or the Meta Ray-Bans would absolutely at some point be set up very soon to actually visualize and announce the cards to the player. So if either company is out there listening to us, please get this done. We'd appreciate those folks with visual problems a way back into the game. I remember back in Florida when I was dealing, and we were dealing stud games a lot. We had a lot of transplanted Northerners, and this was the early 2000s, the late 90s, so we still had a lot of stud games. This one lady had severe macular degeneration, but still loved to play, and she only come by every so often. She was very regular for a while, and then it got worse. And we used large index cards. So if you play in a casino, most of them are standard, very small index. And Faded Spade, I love to shout them out because I like their medium index, which I call the Goldilocks index. It's perfect. It's just right. It's not too large, not too small. Well, we used Chem, now a U.S. playing card. Either way, their large index was just gigantic. It was easily 1.25 inches high. And she needed a magnifying glass to look at the large index cards. And we're playing stud. And she was still a good enough player. She was beating the game. And she couldn't see past her nose, let alone across the table, to see what anybody else had.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I've seen this firsthand in a lot of spots. And at some point, you just got to explain to them, and their vision has made it so that this is just not the game for them.
Yeah, that's a good point about the glasses eventually getting to a point where it can, read out, and then, of course, take all of the other disadvantages to that out of the equation for now. Pretend everybody's
Right.
on the up and up with that. And that would be just game shattering for somebody that has not been able to play in those kinds of situations for a long time. So, yeah, like you said, I hope that comes in sooner rather than later. That would be amazing.
It certainly would. It would be groundbreaking.
What does this conversation look like, though? Because I know you've got to be somewhat delicate with it, right? But
absolutely. But you still got to be firm and fair. You take them aside, and you let them know about how the game is supposed to work, and how it's a game of hidden information, and the wagering upon that information. And we appreciate the fact that they want to play, and we appreciate the fact that they want to actually play fairly. But if they can't find a way to read their cards without inadvertently showing anybody else, they're putting other players at an extreme disadvantage. And that's exceptionally unfair. And the simplest way to remove that disadvantage is to just ask the single player to refrain from the game. It's not an easy conversation, but it's a necessary one sometimes. Not everybody gets to do everything, and that's a sad reality, but it's still no less true. And you also have to turn it around and explain to them that what if you were playing in the game and your opponents across the table were showing each other their cards before any of them had to bet or call somebody else's bet? How would it feel to you knowing that you were going to be so disadvantaged that they would eliminate your possibilities of bluffing? They would have your hand narrowed down so well that you were playing against a 3, 4, or 5-man team, a situation in which you'd never be able to win in the long run. So you're inadvertently doing that, and you're not doing it on purpose, but it's still occurring, and it's not fair to the other players in the game. We just can't continue to do this. It's just not right.
Yeah. It reminds me, I know it's been a long time since we've talked about this, but I remember you talking about how you were the TD for a group that was actually blind, right?
Deaf.
Or was it deaf? Deaf.
Yes, I was at the Palms. We had the World Deaf Poker Championships 2 years in a row. I was the assistant TD. And in Ohio, we did a bunch of tournaments for the deaf, and I was the TD for those. And we had large groups. At the Palms, we had several hundred people. And again, we'd also have cash games. And we would designate a couple of the cash games ASL allowed. Obviously, they were pretty good action. These people rarely got a chance to play amongst each other. And other players obviously without hearing impairments would try to sit down, and I would explain to them, "You're welcome to play. But they're allowed to use American Sign Language at this table, and if you don't understand it, that's your tough. So if they're divulging the cards to each other and ganging up on you, you have no recourse because neither you nor I understand the language, and I can't help you. This is a designated game for a special event." And we, of course, try to get other people to register for the events. No, the list of people who could get into the event was pretty simple. You had to be a part of the organization. You had to be obviously hearing impaired, or you had to be an interpreter for somebody in the tournament, or you had to be a very close family member, a sibling, parent, child of a tournament entry, which again virtually implies that you have some familiarity with ASL. So again, yes, I've been around this, and those were fun times. They're very supportive. So when somebody gets eliminated, they don't go off. They stay in the peanut gallery, and they're cheering on the action and sticking around and making it a really fun time. But
Right.
poker for the blind is just not something that's done.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, my point of bringing that up again, though, is that the game, we do, try to make it as inclusive as possible for people. Go to
Absolutely.
great lengths to do so. And so you
Yes.
also have to, on your end, as the player, have to also go to whatever lengths it takes to make it fair for the rest of the table.
Every
So,
place I've worked, we've had multiple players who regularly played who had various physical impairments to the point where they couldn't move their arms. And we accommodated all of them with ease. They generally brought a spouse or a friend who would handle the cards and chips for them. And it was never a problem. Everybody at the table would generally move over to make a little more space so that they could have their assistant with them. And it moved on. Like I said, for blind players, we obviously had events, but we generally find ways to make it work. We would generally try to seat the deaf and hearing impaired players directly in front of the dealer so they could read the dealer's lips much more easily. So yeah, accommodations can and will be made, but those are not limitless.
right. So, yeah, you've got to call the floor. You've got to get them over there. The floor can then handle it. The floor's trained for those kinds of things, to handle this discreetly and with some compassion. So you got to get them over there so that they're aware, and let them take it from there. But thank you so much for sending that in. It's always a great discussion, and always a good reminder to us that even if it is awkward, to call the floor.
I think there's at least an app, or if not just the camera on somebody's phone can be used to visualize the cards better. You can hide the cards and then you can use your phone. And if you have at least some kind of protective covering on your phone that prevents people from peering over, you can project the cards onto your phone, and nobody can see your phone if you have the correct tint film on your phone. So there are options available.
Right. Especially since, it sounds like the players around him were trying to be respectful and not look at the cards.
Exactly.
It's different maybe if the other players are like, hey, trying to but it
And as
sounds
the
like they
dealer, you
were.
got to speak up. Sir, did you lose your watch in there? I mean, yeah, just stop.
But yeah, you gotta get the floor involved, and I don't think anybody's gonna be upset. If the older gentleman is upset, then like I said, the floor is trained to deal with that kind of stuff. And so,
And if not, they're bosses.
yeah. So, Randy, I appreciate you sending that in. And if anyone has a call the floor that they would like to know how Elliott would rule, send it to podcast@anyupmagazine.com. Elliott, we'll see you
Absolutely.
again next week.
Looking forward to it.
Let's break it down with Hand of the Week.
Welcome to Hand of the Week, where Patrick, our resident fish, and I dive into the listener-submitted hands. Each week, we tackle everything from questionable bluffs to hero calls and the hands that make you scratch your head. Whether you're looking for strategy tips or you just want to see if you would have played it any better, we've got you covered. Patrick, how's it going?
Pretty good, my friend. I see you survived Vegas.
We made it back. It is relaxed day because we got back super late, and now we are jumping straight into recording and getting into the Patreon game later on tonight.
Yep.
So
When everyone's listening to
uh,
this, I will have made a run, and hopefully this month, not made a run and then been one of the first ones out. So we'll see how that one plays out next week. Yeah, no, Vegas looked like a blast. I was catching up with some of it, both on the socials and the live stream. The room looked awesome. The competition looked great. I think it just was a win-win all the way around. So
yeah,
can't wait
and
for
just
years
getting
to
to
come.
hang out with listeners and the and ambassadors and um, really making new contacts out there. What I never complain about those trips. I love those tour stops. But hey, let's get into a hand of the week this week.
Sounds good to me. Who we got?
We have one sent in by Mike Villarreal is what I'm going with.
Mike, if we just butchered that, we sincerely apologize.
Right. Um, Mike is playing 1-3,
Okay.
and he starts the hand with about $430. He says the table is loose passive overall, but there are a few active players. One in particular has been opening a lot of pots, but hasn't shown down anything crazy. They are in middle position in this hand when it folds to them, and they make it $12. It folds to us in the cutoff, and we have the ace of diamonds, jack of clubs.
All right. Ace of diamonds, jack of clubs. Well, I'm definitely playing. I don't think I'm coming over the top here. I'm probably just 12's good enough for me. Obviously, we got the blinds to still to come. But 12 might be big enough. I mean, I don't know if it's big enough for heads up, but I'm okay letting that ride.
Well, that the fact that we have the blinds coming up and the button still too is why I was going to ask you, why would you not
Come over the
raise here?
top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pot control. Early on pot control.
You said it with such a question mark.
It was
Did you
there.
really believe that?
Yeah, there was no belief whatsoever. Maybe it was just a plain scared. You know what, Joe? We're going over the top.
Okay.
Make it 35.
Okay. $30 is in my head, so I'll take 35.
'Kay.
Apparently this guy has a wide range
Yeah,
from middle position that he's opening. I feel like just calling is going to invite too many people into this hand. So,
at least
um,
one more. You're gonna catch at least one more, if not more, if not 2 or 3. So,
yeah. So I think $30 is enough to isolate, but we could make it 35 for sure. And then if we can get it down to heads up, well, then we will have position the rest of the way.
correct. You're absolutely right. Listen, sometimes, man, I'm gonna tell you what, you're a smart guy.
Or at least I play one on TV.
There we go. And for everyone that has not visited yet, let's take a quick little caveat. This is up every single week. Correct me if I'm wrong on YouTube, correct?
It is. It is.
Go
And
enjoy.
we've had a lot of people checking it out there. I love it. I love seeing people get in there and leaving some comments in there too. Well, I'd love it.
We all have a lot of fun.
Um,
It's a lot of fun to watch. Go watch it. But all right, back to
yeah.
it. So we're going 35. I'm going 35. You said you're fine between 30. What's our friend Mike do?
Mike just calls.
Uh-oh.
He says, I didn't want to bloat the pot.
Listen, me and Mike, we're two
But
peas in a pod. We're not right
but
necessarily, but we're two peas in a pod. Okay.
but now the button and the big blind also call.
See, that's
So
where we go. Bump, bump, bump.
yeah,
Okay.
essentially not wanting to bloat the pot, bloated the pot with
Yeah.
more players.
And
So,
we're at what?
uh,
49.
yeah, now we've got $49 in the pot. And the flop comes the ace of clubs, 10 of clubs, 5 of diamonds. It checks to the original raiser in middle position, who bets $20.
Top pair. Good kicker.
Yeah?
Now it's time to weed the rest out.
Okay, so you're gonna
If we're playing Mike's
raise?
hand, yes. It's 20 to us. I'm probably 50.
Okay. I was even going higher than that. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, here's the scary part. They are continuing with 3 players left to act after them.
Yeah.
So, they probably have a legit hand. It could be some strong draws, right? But
Yeah.
definitely not just air. Yeah, I mean, with a flop like that, you've got like half the deck that is bad for us.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
clubs are still out there. They could be sitting on, king, queen. Ace is a little less likely, but, it's also less likely that another one will come out if they need it. If they need jacks, we've got the jack. I mean, so look, I got
yeah.
enough outs that I'm still feeling okay.
Well, the reason that I wanted to go a little bit higher is because they have so many cards that can help them, I feel like.
Make them
So,
pay for it.
yeah, I wanted to go 65.
'Kay.
Mike says I just call again with top pair, good kicker. Button folds, big blind calls.
So,
He says, I didn't want to blow him off bluffs or worse aces, but I also didn't want to build a giant pot in a multi-way spot. So I don't like the call. I guess it's okay. But now pretty much anyone with a random 10, some kind of gut shot, they stick around. Playing ace jack multi-way, it's not where that hand
no, it's
shines,
not where you
really.
wanna be.
So that makes our pot $109. The turn is the 7 of spades. So the board is ace of clubs, 10 of clubs, 5 of diamonds, 7 of spades. Big blind checks. The villain bets 55.
So he's on a draw for sure.
Yeah?
King, queen. I mean, I guess he could have flopped a set of tens.
Yeah.
I mean, fives, I don't think he plays, but he could have. I mean, for middle position.
It is a tough spot. We have top pair, we have a
I
good
think at
kicker.
some point Mike needs to come over the top to see where he's at. And I hate to say it, but I feel like we're already too late to the game. Come over the top.
Yeah, I feel like as I was just getting ready to say it, I feel like that ship has sailed.
So
Um,
playing Mike's hand as is, I'm probably just calling.
yeah. Yeah,
So
I think if we raise now, it looks like we have exactly what we have, which is please fold your draw.
yeah, just fold your draw.
Please fold.
Just
Um, if we call though,
what is it saying if we
it's
call?
almost
We've got a pair. It's probably
it
saying the same
almost
thing.
feels like it almost feels like if we call, we're just like, well, I already messed this hand up, so we might as well call one more street.
Or we're also on a draw too, and I need one more club. Or I'm sitting on 8, 9 suited and I need a 6. And
I, here's okay. I'm probably gonna get so many emails and
oh, I
so
can't wait
many
for this. Can
comments
I
on this.
please set
But
this up with a drum roll?
is folding too nitty?
Oh god, get out of here. Yes, you can't fold this. You have top pair and a good kicker, and they're on draws.
There's a lot of things out there that beat us.
I it there's nothing. Well, I was gonna say there's not nothing out there that beats us, but there's very little that beats us right now.
2 pairs beat us. Sets beat us.
He's not sitting
Um,
on sevens or fives. So a set of tens beats us. I don't think he's sitting on a set of fives, 10 or sevens. Yes, 2 pair does, ace 5 does, 10-5 does, 10-7 does, and it's well within the range. There's a lot. You're right. I'm not arguing that there's a lot that could beat us. Well, the deuce of hearts is gonna come out. We're gonna win this hand.
and then the next street, thinking ahead, the next street we're going to face another big bet.
Two of hearts comes out.
And
He
if
misses
we
it. He
miss,
misses it.
I'm folding. If we miss again on the next street, then we're facing a big bet, and we just threw away $55.
In Hawaii, they would say you have no kahunas. Or maybe they say you have one big kahuna and it's above your shoulders and you got a big brain. I get what you're getting at, and you're not wrong.
Okay. But yet
Because
you're gonna.
if we
But
bet
you're not
50
wrong. But
here,
I'm gonna throw money in
yes,
here.
there's enough people that have played against me that listen to this and they're going, "Yeah, he is. Patrick is playing. Patrick is playing." We all know Patrick is gonna play. Um, yeah, there is a lot that either beats us now and or continues. We throw 50 in, you're probably catching another, at least a trend, probably closer to 90 to 100, maybe a little less. You know, and then you're sitting there hoping for an ace or a jack at best, and then, ace may not even be great because then it pairs the board. So, I get it.
Mike says, at this point, I'm not sure if I should raise for protection with the clubs out there. We already talked about that ship sailed. So he says, I call again, and the big blind folds. So
Big
now
blind was almost wrong.
the pot is $219. And the river is the 9 of spades.
Okay, I don't love the 9.
So the board runs out ace of clubs, 10 of clubs, 5 of diamonds, 7 of spades, 9 of spades.
Can I take a guess? Let me just take a guess. Middle
At what?
position leads out for $100.
Villain takes about 10 seconds and bets 150.
Oh,
So
well,
even
that's even
more.
worse. Fold. Push him in. I'm done. I really want to know. I mean, we're gonna find out how this ends. I really want to know who this guy has. I'm making him on 10s. That's my guess.
Okay. You're saying he has pocket 10, so he made a set?
Yeah, he made a set right off the flop. He's played it very well. He's got us to buy in for 2 other streets that we shouldn't have.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but I also think ace 10 makes sense. I
mean
don't think so. The flush misses, but I don't think 8-6 for the straight. I don't think that got there.
Or 8 jack.
Yeah, I don't think either one of those.
I don't either, unless they were suited. But then suited would have. I mean, you could play 8 jack suited from middle position and then misses it on that. But if it's 8 jack or 8-6, I mean, 8-6 maybe, but then the flop comes out ace of clubs, 10 of clubs, 5 of diamonds. I mean, you're still looking for two cards.
Yeah,
I
I
think
feel
I
like
think I think he very well could have been waiting on the flush, but
if it's a situation where they got there in the river, then it's because we didn't take control of the hand.
yeah,
But yeah, fold, fold, fold.
old.
um, we just don't beat
Enough.
any of their range really, and we didn't raise pre-flop, we didn't raise on the flop, we never raised the turn, so
If you put anything in
um,
here now, you're yeah, no.
yeah, I feel like we pretty much announced to the table, I have one pair, please make my life difficult. And the villain obliged us. He said, sure, I'll do that for you.
Yeah, and if you try to come
Um,
over the top here, you're literally just screaming the fact that you don't have anything, and yeah. So, anyway,
yeah. Mike says, I tank. This felt like a big bet for the game, and I couldn't tell if my passive line earlier kind of put me in this exact ugly spot. After about a minute, I ended up calling,
no.
and the villain showed ace of spades, 10 of diamonds for 2 pair. I called that.
Yeah, you did.
He
Alright,
says,
Mike. Go ahead.
my questions. Is the river call ever okay, or is it always a fold after he bombs it? And his second his second question is, how bad did I butcher this hand? I would love to hear where you guys think I punted and how you'd played it.
Do you wanna start or would you like me to?
You go ahead.
Mike,
Go ahead.
first and foremost, let me just throw this asterisk in there. This is 1000% a hand that I would have played online and done exactly what you did, and then the hand is done, and I'm like, "If Joe was in this hand, he'd tell me that I just butchered it." Anyway, so I want that caveat out there, and there's, hundreds and thousands of us that are listening that would do the same thing, but here's my take on it after doing all this. No, I gave myself whiplash shaking my head back and forth for everyone that's watching, on YouTube, you saw that. No, the call on the river there is never okay. For all the
Right.
reasons that we've said, you haven't represented anything but you've got one pair and you please want everyone to fold for some odd reason other than the fact that you wanna win for no reason. So, the call there is never okay. You didn't butcher it in the sense that, like, you had an okay hand, you just gotta make the right time for your exit. Or
Yeah.
you push the fact and you find out. So you could have cost yourself less. I think. I'm not great with numbers unless it's in Excel, but if the flop you raise pre-flop, you're probably gonna catch a call from him. Ace 10, you're probably catching a call middle position. And then the flop comes out, he's probably going to lead into you. And at that point, you may wanna question it and catch your fold there, or worst case, you catch the fold on the turn.
Well, if we raise pre-flop and
Yeah.
he calls, then we come to the flop. He may check to us because we were the aggressor.
Yep.
Then we end up betting, right? And if he raises, we can get away from it.
Yep.
Um, if if the same situation occurs on the turn, if he just calls, which I don't think he would do with two clubs out there. I think he's going to try and get us to lay the hand down with two clubs out there too. But either way, the show of strength there, we can get away with top pair, decent kicker. Just by the time we got to the river, I mean, we're holding a hand that just can't stand up to pressure, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that I think Mike makes the call here is because of the passive play that he had earlier. He's like, well, maybe he's just trying to make a move because I didn't. And that's why it's important to make the move.
Yeah, to get
That's why
the
you have
read
to
on
do
it,
it.
absolutely.
But I will say I agree with you. I don't think he butchered the hand. I don't think he butchered the hand, Mike, but you did allow it to snowball by never taking control.
Yeah.
So ace jack offsuit, it's a fine hand to 3-bet and isolate in position. So when you don't, we wind up exactly where we are, facing a big bet on the river with one pair, no info, and not really any good options.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say butchered, but it wasn't a shining moment either.
It's a great song called
Um,
March. One shining moon. Sorry.
uh, Mike, I appreciate you sending that in. And if anyone has a hand of the week that they would like to see how Patrick and you see how I just went over that song there you were singing. But if anyone has a hand of the week that they would like to know how Patrick and I would play it, send it to podcast@anyupmagazine.com. Patrick, I'll see you next week.
And that's how the cookie crumble.
What just
I am too hilarious. It has been a very, very long, busy week, and
what just happened?
I don't know.
That's how the cookie crumbles. What?
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking to myself that I need to gather myself and close this out and just say bye, and the first thing that came to mind was Bruce Almighty, the movie. And that's what the dude says, and I go, "You know what? I'm gonna say it."
Your end tag needs a lot of work for sure.
You can also cut the
And
singing because I have no
oh no,
singing
no, no,
voice.
no, no. That is for sure staying in there.
Oh, man. That's gonna be a good one. Enjoy that one.
It's time for Joe's One Outer.
Let's talk about one of the most overlooked advantages in live poker. The time you choose to play. Because the clock doesn't just measure hours. It also tells you who's going to be in the room with you. For example, Friday and Saturday nights from 7 o'clock until the sun comes up. At that time, it's not just a poker room. It's also fun people watching material. You'll find bachelor parties with players who learn to play from social media, convention goers playing after a long day listening to business jargon, and international players who just love to gamble. Half the table has had a few drinks, and the other half is jacked up on Red Bull. But if you're an aggressive player who can remain focused while the rest of the room just melts down, this can be one of the softest games you'll ever find. But discipline is crucial. The other end of the spectrum is Monday through Friday from 9 or 10 in the morning until, say, 2 o'clock. When you walk in, of course, all you smell is coffee, and all you see is determination. I mean, welcome to Knit City. Population, everybody in the room. There are retirees who've been playing forever. They know every promotion, every rule, and they even fold kings preflop if the situation calls for it. Attempting a creative or loose play will get you snapped off and maybe even some kind of lecture about how the game used to be played. For this game, you've got to bring your patience and your tightest ranges. But the coffee's probably in the room already. I think the golden window that no one talks about overlaps the weekday afternoons a little, but from 1 until 5 p.m. The early evening crowd isn't there yet. The tight players are at lunch, and the pros are still asleep. You'll find this mix of solid regs and a few sports bettors who are still reacting to their earlier losses. The games are pretty straightforward, and you can actually hear the dealer. That's the time when you play strategically without distraction, and it can be pretty profitable. Then there's that graveyard shift, 2 a.m. until sunrise. This is where the late night crowd arrives. It's all players fueled by energy drinks and adrenaline. Half the table is wired, the other half is nodding off mid-hand. Pots can just get enormous, but the swings are extreme. If you can stay alert longer than the other players at the table, you might score a large win. Or you might find yourself questioning every life choice that brought you there. So, I think the key takeaway here is to match the times you play with the style you want to play. If you're looking for action, then play the weekend late night session. If you'd rather play a methodical, disciplined game, go in the mornings or early afternoon. And if you enjoy chaos and unpredictability, well, maybe the graveyard shift will be the best bet for you. That's today's One Outer, and that's today's show. I'll see you next week, A-Team. And until then, I'll see you at the tables.
The Ante Up Podcast is a production of AnteUpMagazine.com. Contact the show at podcasts@AnteUpMagazine.com or call the show at 540-339-7741. If you'd like to advertise, send an email to editor@AnteUpMagazine.com.